In this form, I'm going to take my talents to South Beach.
LeBron can never come back. He's one of our own. He's from Akron. He has a tattoo of loyalty on his body. And he ignored that to go chase the championship with Chris Bosh in Miami. He follows Chris Bosh. Chris Bosh should be following him. It's ridiculous.
Listen, you can love me, and I know some of you hate me as well.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And I thought for once in my life, with how much I love Cleveland sports, it would love me back. And that has not happened today.
In this form, I'm going to take my talents to South Beach.
We've supported him for 7 years now, and for him to go on there and drag us through the mud for 7 years and stab us in the heart, he deserves everything he gets.
Get out of here, LeBron. Go back to L.A. Don't come to New York with that LeBron. You never beat Jordan. You never beat Jordan. You bum.
Like and subscribe on your way through the door, my people. I genuinely hope every single one of you is having a truly fantastic day today. Welcome back, my people. Welcome back. Congratulations to the New York Knicks. Congratulations to every Knicks fan across the entire world. They finally got it done after 53 long years. The last championship this franchise claimed was back in 1973. So major respect to Jalen Brunson and everyone on that roster. And it was genuinely wonderful seeing Patrick Ewing on that court having an emotional moment, seeing Spike Lee and all the people who were around during the Jordan era when Michael denied them that championship so many times. I had absolutely no problem watching the New York Knicks lift that trophy. As far as the San Antonio Spurs are concerned, the real test for me regarding Victor Wembanyama is what he looks like when next season arrives. How does he come back? Because they made a significant number of mistakes throughout these finals. So if he takes this experience, genuinely internalizes it, works on his game through the offseason, and returns visibly better, then I will still feel very good about Victor Wembanyama going forward. Now, apparently, these finals shattered some records. Apparently, this series performed exceptionally well in the ratings. Game 4 specifically drew the highest viewership a Game 4 has produced since the 1998 Chicago Bulls, since the Michael Jordan era. And I want to read this brief excerpt directly from NBA.com. It states that the New York Knicks' record-breaking comeback victory over the San Antonio Spurs in Game 4 of the 2026 NBA Finals averaged 20.9 million viewers on ABC, making it the largest NBA Finals Game 4 audience since 1998. The game peaked at 23.2 million viewers, and my people, it goes even further than that. Through 4 games, the 2026 NBA Finals represented ABC and ESPN's most watched finals ever and the most watched NBA Finals since 1998. When the greatest of all time was still doing what he did in Chicago, averaging 19.6 million viewers across the series. The fact that this is the most watched finals since 1998 is a clear signal to me. LeBron James supporters, if you were ever waiting for a definitive sign, here it is right in front of you. This is a sign that the audience has moved on. This is a sign that the NBA is ready to turn the page from whatever he decides to do next season. He really should be thinking seriously about retirement at this point. But regardless, I genuinely believe the broader audience is ready to move forward. And I will be honest with you. After Game 4, I could not bring myself to watch Game 5 because what I witnessed in Game 4, with the how San Antonio played to surrender that lead, it just reminded me of everything that frustrates me about the current state of basketball. This obsession with the three-point shot has teams living and dying by it in ways that simply do not make competitive sense. San Antonio built a substantial lead in Game 4, and when the threes stopped falling, they did not have the awareness to adjust their approach. At that point, the sensible decision is to stop launching threes on every possession, protect the lead you have built, run the shot clock down, and make the game work for you, especially when you have Victor Wembanyama on your roster. Instead, they kept firing and the lead evaporated. It reminded me of the same pattern with the Boston Celtics that made their championship run so difficult to fully appreciate. The basketball just became irrational. However, regardless of my personal feelings about the direction of the game, this was still the highest-rated NBA Finals since 1998. And when I looked into this further, I did some research on Finals viewership history. And what becomes clear very quickly is that in most NBA Finals series, a team does extremely well if even one individual game reaches 20 million viewers. Most series never reach that threshold in any game throughout the entire run. LeBron had a Game 7 in 2016 that reached 30 million. Kobe Bryant in 2010 had a game approach 28 or 29 million. But those are exceptional individual games within series where most other games sat considerably below that number. The fact that Spurs versus Knicks averaged nearly 20 million viewers across the series is genuinely remarkable by any reasonable standard. So I want to take this opportunity to show anyone who may be curious, particularly anyone who did not grow up watching the Michael Jordan era, exactly what we are talking about when we discuss his dominance. Not just on the court, but in terms of how completely his on-court greatness translated into everything surrounding the sport. The endorsements, the Nike empire, the Gatorade campaigns, and most significantly, the television ratings. So let me walk through his final two championship runs. The 1997 Finals, Chicago versus the Utah Jazz for the first time. Game 1 drew 24.71 million viewers. Game 2 drew 22.27 million. Game 3 drew 20.95 million. Game 4 drew 26.36 million. Game 5 drew 30.26 million. Game 6 drew 28.7 million. Remember, as you listen to those numbers, that most series throughout NBA history consider themselves fortunate to have a single game clear 20 million. Now here is 1998, the most watched finals in the entire history of the NBA Finals. The conclusion of an era defined by the greatest to ever play the game. The player responsible for athletes being able to earn the kind of money they earn today. The player who brought more fans to the NBA than anyone before or after him. The player who made people across the entire world want to pick up a basketball. Who made people genuinely believe they could fly. Game 1 of the 1998 Finals, Chicago versus Utah for the second time. Game 1 drew 26.68 million. Game 2 drew 26.3 million. Game 3 drew 25.7 million. Game 4 drew 28.79 million. Game 5 drew 30.59 million. And Game 6, the final game Michael Jordan ever played in a Chicago Bulls uniform, drew 35.89 million viewers. As I said, most series throughout history consider it a success if one game clears 20 million viewers. Michael Jordan in 1997 and 1998 did not have a single game fall below 20 million, and his final game drew nearly 36 million people. That is the standard. That is what genuine cultural dominance over an entire sport actually looks like. And it was entirely a product of how spectacular and completely dominant he was on the basketball court. That greatness radiated outward and pulled in people who had never once cared about basketball before in their lives. Non-fans became fans. Casual observers became devoted followers. That is what Michael Jordan did. Anyway, we will leave it there for today. Once again, congratulations to the New York Knicks. Congratulations to Jalen Brunson and the entire team for delivering this franchise its first championship in 53 years. And by the way, LeBron supporters, that is actually more years than the Cleveland drought, when Kyrie Irving delivered that championship that LeBron rode alongside. Cleveland had waited 52 years. New York waited 53. So once again, the comparison does not land where LeBron supporters would like it to. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Did you watch the full series? What is your assessment of Jalen Brunson? Where do you see Victor Wembanyama going from here? And what do you make of the fact that this was the second highest rated finals since Michael Jordan was still playing basketball? Drop your thoughts below. You all have a truly fantastic day, and I will see you next time.